His response to unimaginable loss and devastation has led to the creation of a beacon of hope that continues to shine brightly amidst the darkness. The Save Gaza Project. Now join us this afternoon as we offer a glimpse into the life of a man whose dedication to humanitarian work amidst personal and communal tragedy serves as a powerful reminder of the impact one individual can have. This is a conversation that you will not want to miss. A story of loss, love, and the relentless pursuit of a better tomorrow. Dr. Basel Abuwarda, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the show and welcome to the social network here this afternoon.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And thank you for having me.
Jazakallah khair for giving us your time. Now, I understand that the sister here with you is Sister Soda. Am I correct? And you've been friends with her since 2014, subhanallah. So you have been in the South African lands before, yes?
Exactly. Since I established Save Gaza Project with Engineer Mustafa Bahasi, I have been with contact with Colors of Hope organization. It is a humanitarian organization that I have been working with since 2014
Alhamdulillah.
in Gaza, helping many people, doing a lot of projects for the injured people in Gaza and the homeless people in Gaza and everyone in Gaza who needs help.
We're experiencing, since last year, October 7th, was sort of like a catalyst that the world didn't see before. Allah works in very mysterious ways. Allah knows what we are not of. Allah operates very mysteriously, but He has opened the eyes of people across the world as to what has happened in Gaza, in Palestine. We've also recently learned that you've lost a vast number of family members, including your loving parents. And just by me saying these words, it's very hard for me because I know what it's like to lose a parent. It's not very easy, but to lose so many members. But you've been part of the Save Gaza Project. Brother, how do you remain so strong-minded? How do you remain an individual who still fights for justice regardless of the atrocities? And tell us, you being here in South Africa, what are the words that you want to share with the citizens and the Ummah in South Africa?
In the first week of the war, exactly on the 13th of October, our house in Palestine, Gaza, has been targeted with airstrike, which led to the death of both of my parents, my father and mother, and the injury of my brother. It is not easy to lose a father or mother, but I've just lost, I lost both of my parents that day. And the problem is, they have been buried in a place no one knows where it is.
Allah.
Even if I wanna visit them one day, put some flower on their graves or just reading Fatiha for them, I don't know where they are, and no one does know where they are. Our house has been completely destroyed, so the houses of my siblings as well. My brother and sister is still in the north of Gaza, still suffering right now from the starvation that has been started since the beginning of the war in the north of Gaza. We have to be patient and to have faith in order to overcome this. I need to be strong for the rest of my family left. I need to be strong to be able to go back to Gaza and help rebuilding Gaza after this madness stops. I hope that I will not lose any more members of my family. Counting now, I have almost over 100 family members until now. The last of them was a few days ago. Muhammad Isa Abuwarda was targeted and killed by Israeli snipers. We have to be strong and have a good faith, because this is the only thing that will help us after the war, bringing back Gaza not only the way it was before, but inshallah in much better.
Subhanallah. Former President and late citizen of South Africa, sort of called the father of the nation, the late Nelson Mandela, has said that South Africa will only be free once the people of Palestine will be free. And that is something that we all understand that till this day. You walked in here with the South African flag across your shoulders, and I'm sure you've also very well aware of the whole ICJ from South Africa, the documentation, South Africa coming to the forefront, South Africa being the first country to stand on the global stage. What was your reaction to that? How did you feel, and how do you feel now being in the country?
One of the reasons why I'm visiting South Africa now, not just only to tell the people about my personal stories and educate them about what's happening in Gaza, but also to appreciate, to show them my appreciation about what South Africa did for Palestine and still does, and how thankful we are, the Gazan people, for this. South Africa is the only country in the world who stood and still stands with Palestine when all my brothers, our brothers in the whole world, turned their back against us in fear. That's something to be proud of. I'm seeing everywhere I go, Palestinian flag. I see how the people of South Africa support the Palestinian in everywhere, in every city. And that's make me very, very, very proud and very emotional, and I appreciate this. I haven't expected that much of welcoming, that much of support for Palestine. It makes my heart dance from joy to people.
Subhanallah, subhanallah, beautiful. You graduated from the Azhar University Medical School, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Since you've graduated, how have you dedicated to your life to the medical field? What have you done since you have graduated from the Al-Azhar University?
Since we are talking about Al-Azhar Medical University, I have to just say one thing. Almost all medical facilities and universities and medical school in Gaza has been destroyed.
Allah.
And it is not easy now for the medical student who have theoretical and practical part to finish their studies. First of all, because there is no universities left. Second of all, there is no hospital left to do the practical part as well. Almost every hospital in Gaza has been destroyed or is out of service. After graduating from medical school, I was able to work in Shifa Hospital for a few years. And after that, I felt the need that I need to do something for the people in Gaza, which is expand my medical knowledge in Germany and then be able to go back in Gaza and bring this knowledge to the people of Gaza in order to make our medicine in Gaza better and bring some news, information and a new operational technique into Gaza that does not exist right now.
We've also seen on the news that strategically how the IDF of apartheid Israel has pushed and displaced people to the borders. Currently we have one of our presenters, our veteran presenters, Brother Mohammed Variawa, who is in Egypt, who will be talking on the Siraj Basel show later. When it comes to getting aid into Gaza, Brother Basel, what have you noticed with the world? You've mentioned that South Africa makes you proud. What makes you angry with regards to the Arab world has been so silent? How does that make you feel, and why have they been so silent?
Gaza, before the war, Gaza needed almost 30 trucks a day from goods to supply it. And after the war and during this war, only one truck enter every 2 to 3 days into Gaza. This is nothing from the consumption of the people of Gaza. And the other thing is, these humanitarian aid enter only the south of Gaza. Gaza Strip has been divided into two parts, north and south. the people of the north are not getting any humanitarian aid. The people of the north are now suffering from starvation. They have no food. The only food that they used to, or they are using or used to have, is the only food that left before, and the only food existed before the war. Many people are suffering from severe malnutrition, especially children, and many premature children are dying right now from the starvation. We are expecting, or we expected, much more support from our brothers and sisters in the Arab world. Maybe in the beginning, people were going everywhere, doing demonstrations, trying to do something for Palestine and Gaza. But what I noticed in the last few weeks, this interest has been dramatically declined, and they are dealing with the Palestinian deaths right now as only numbers. But I want to remind everyone, we are just numbers, we are humans. Everyone who dies in Gaza right now had his own dream, family, people who love them. Don't think of us as numbers, because we're not. And now in the south of Gaza, in Rafah, 1.1 million people are just waiting for a massacre to happen, and the world is watching. It's happening in live stream, and no one is doing anything to stop it. And we are saying this over and over again. It must be stopped before it happens. We have to do something to prevent it and to stop it before it's too late, because when the ground invasion in Rafah starts, there will be thousands of deaths in the Palestinian people, especially civilians.
It seems like this is sort of like a plan that has been done by the IDF and under Benjamin Netanyahu's regime. But with regards to what is happening at the very moment in Gaza, as you mentioned, the north and the south, your visit to South Africa, what is your plea and what is your goal and your mission coming here to all the venues that you will be in attendance, and for all the other Muslim brothers and sisters who will also be attending these events? What do you have to share with us?
To make demonstration, to go to the street asking the government to do pressure against Israel and educate the other people about what's happening in Palestine, in order to make pressure, in order to stop the massacre in Rafah before it happens. As I said, when it happens, it will be too late, and we don't want to regret that. And I'm coming here to also tell the people that the people of Gaza needs help right now and after the war. In case if they thought that the humanitarian aids in Gaza are enough, they are not enough. They need, in this acute situation, they need food, they need blankets, they need tent. Many people have lost their houses, and they are now taking shelter in schools in Gaza or in the streets. And after the war's end, the people still needs the help to be able to rebuild Gaza again, and the Gazans still won't be able to do this by themselves. That's why they need every possible help in order to do so.
And inshallah, we will definitely give you the aid that we can give. We have a question from one of our listeners. He asks, what is the situation with Mahmoud Abbas, as social platform says he is conflicted and works with the Israeli regime? How true is that statement, and what is your views on Mahmoud Abbas?
Mahmoud Abbas is the Palestinian president.
Yes.
And is being now under a lot of pressure from all over the world. Don't forget that West Bank itself is still occupied, and he does not have a lot of jurisdiction there, and the situation in West Bank is not better as the situation in Gaza. In fact, there is almost over 500 or 600 deaths in West Bank right now, and we have not witnessed anything like that since 2002. He has he has not too much things to do, to be honest. He tried, and he still try. Maybe he will succeed in preventing this massacre in Gaza to happen. He's still doing negotiation all over the world in order to stop this madness. Hopefully, he will be able to do so. It's not about that he abandoned us, but he does not have much to do, to be honest.
Now, you'll also be in attendance at the NMJ Hall this evening at 7:30 p.m. What can our listeners and those who are attending, I know you did mention it's all about creating awareness, but is there any specific topics that you will address tonight? I know you spoke at a school last night. Tonight you'll be at NMJ, and I'm sure there's going to be a huge attendance, inshallah. But sort of guide us through what you're hoping to achieve in terms of meeting fellow brothers and sisters in the KZN province, and what do you have to say to them?
Telling the story from someone who lost people in Gaza, or a person who used to live in Gaza and work in Gaza, is different from hearing it from the media or from just the TV. That's why I'm gonna try to tell the people more about the situation in Gaza, how it was working in Gaza, and what is the situation right now, hospital situation, telling them some personal stories about what happened in Gaza, some stories of colleagues that suffered from this war and still suffering, and hopefully I will be able to leave a message to the people that they can spread later in order to educate more people about what's happening in Gaza and about the Palestinian cause.
Inshallah. Now, we also want to say we thank you so much for joining us here today on the airwaves. You know, we also appreciate Sister Soda for bringing you into studio here, and it's such an honor. But how do you, I just want to try to grasp the fact that, you know, and I don't want to bring it up as so many times because I know it's not a very easy topic to discuss. But how do you function day to day, knowing that you've lost so many family members? You know, I can say, you know, I lost my dad 10 years ago, and it took me quite a long time to actually sort of come out of that little hole that was dug for me, that I dug myself into, and it's not easy, you know. But to lose so many family members, and knowing that vast figures, every day you are seeing new numbers of fatalities, what keeps you sane?
The thing is, everyone expects us to be okay. Everyone asks us to go on, but it's not that easy. We are not okay. It's not easy to go on and carry on life. I didn't have much time to grieve because I'm still worrying about my sisters and my brother in Gaza Strip. They are still facing death every day. I'm just worried that something will happen to them, my injured brother as well. And this gave me no time to grieve, just keeping thinking about them every day. And someone have to be strong in this situation. And I have to be strong in this situation in order to be able to help them as well.
Inshallah. The Save Gaza Project, for our listeners who want to get involved, to provide aid to the Save Gaza Project and to obviously provide aid for the people of Gaza, how can we find out more information about the Save Gaza Project? Where do we go online? Who do we visit? Who do we speak to?
You can follow Save Gaza Project on Twitter. We have an official Twitter account, but you can also make donation for Colors of Hope organization, our partner that have been working with us since 2014, as well as Salam Foundation. These two organizations are functioning now in Gaza, and they have their own people with our people in Save Gaza Project, who are now on the ground risking their life, helping the people of Gaza in every mean that's possible right now.
I also want to discuss, since you brought up, social media. We're living in a new era at the moment with social media platforms. Media propaganda is one of them. Some people say that October 7th was sort of like Israel's 9/11. Not the same, obviously not. And I think in today's day, we have access to technologies, and we've seen firsthand from the people of Gaza and the people of Palestine showing us the atrocities through imagery, through visuals. Now tell us, what is your views on how the Western world portrays Israel as the victim and the Palestinians as the perpetrators? How would you sort of convince an individual, like, look beyond, you can see firsthand what is going on. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to deduce what is happening in Palestine. So how is you as a native of Palestine, how do you feel of how the media has sort of turned everything against the people of Palestine?
This is not something not new about Palestine. You have to know, in this war, in less than 5 months, 126 journalists have been killed in Palestine. In the World War II, duration of 6 years, there was only 69 journalists killed. That means that Israel tries to hide the truth. They don't want anyone knows what's happening in Palestine and what they are doing there. But thanks to social media, people are trying to record everything. People are trying to document everything. There is a lot of restriction. Facebook does a lot of restriction of the Palestinian content. We know that. But still, the amount of videos and pictures that have been spread in the world are enough that everyone in the world now knows what's happening in Palestine and who's the right side and who's not. Most of the media around the world are controlled by the governments, which now a lot of government are pro-Israeli, and they only show us one side of the truth. Unfortunately, the influence of the Palestinian people on governments and media is very little. So that's why right now social media, it's our way in showing what's really happening in Palestine, because the people themselves are the people who are reporting from Gaza, inside Gaza, and showing the world what's happening right now there.
Your parting words for the listeners of Radio Al Ansar this afternoon, Dr. Basel.
Please educate yourself about Palestine. Read more about when this conflict started. And when you do so, try to spread the messages to other people. Protest. Help the people in Rafah right now, in Gaza Strip, because the only thing that will stop the new massacre to happen in Rafah is when we do pressure on our governments, on the governments all over the world, to make pressure on Israel not to invade Rafah. Third, and finally, people have to donate for Palestine in this acute situation to prevent the starvation of people in north of Gaza, to help the homeless people who are living in the street and school in south of Gaza, and eventually help the people in Gaza to rebuild Gaza after the war.
Amen. Dr. Basel, we thank you so much for joining us here this afternoon. I was speaking at the beginning of the show. I heard a lecture last night by a brother called Muhammad Hoblos, and I stumbled upon it, and one of the main focus in his lecture was Rijal. I think it was the term that he used. What makes a true man? When I look at you, I see the nur emanating from you, and you are a clear individual who represents a true man, subhanallah.
Thank
And you are here on a mission to save your friends and your family that are still breathing today. And I wish I was half the man that you are, being able to do that. I would be a broken person if I had to lose all that family. But alhamdulillah, Allah has placed you on our land, the land that stands with the people of Palestine. And we will stand hand by hand until the people of Palestine is free, inshallah.
Ya Rab, inshallah.
Ameen. We thank you so much, brother. Sister Soda, we thank you so much for bringing him as well. Got a good friend since 2014, and inshallah we'll bring him back continuously in the future with some good news, inshallah. Yeah, the next time he comes and sits with us. We wish you all the best on your tour here in South Africa, and we urge all our listeners to please support, as brother Dr. Basel has mentioned. Visit their Twitter page, Save Gaza. Is there any other details you'd like to share with our listeners here this afternoon of how we can get in touch with Save Gaza Project?
You can always send messages to Save Gaza Project account on Twitter, or simply just contact Colors of Hope organization or the Salam Foundation.
On behalf of Radio Al Ansar and myself, Brother Ted, and the team of the social network, we thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Dr. Basel, and we wish you all the best once again, and Jazakallah khair for your time.
Thank you so much.
And Sister Soda, Jazakallah khair. That was Dr. Basel Abuwarda joining us here this afternoon, sharing with us his story. He will be at the NMJ Hall tonight from 7:30 p.m. A very powerful individual indeed. He is a graduate of the Azhar Medical School in Gaza, and he has dedicated his time for the Save Gaza Project. He's here to share the stories and to make us more aware on a much more bigger scale as to what is happening. And as he's mentioned, we want the people at the borders of Egypt and Rafah to be saved. And as he mentioned, we are trying to prevent a massacre and a genocide taking place. So the change starts now for a better tomorrow.